If you're over 60 and you find that your feet ache after walking, you feel a little unsteady on uneven ground, or you're just looking for a comfortable shoe that you can wear all day without pain, the right shoes can make a huge difference. I'm James, a foot and ankle specialist, and in this video I'm going to show you the best walking shoes for seniors in 2026. I've created 4 clear categories, so you can skip ahead to find the best shoes for your feet, whether you need more stability, better balance, more comfort, or extra grip. And I'll show you 2 types of walking shoes that I recommend seniors to avoid, because they make balance worse without people even realizing. For convenience, I put links to all the shoes in the description if you want to check the latest price on Amazon. The first shoe that I'd recommend is the Brooks Ghost Max 3. That's a shoe that I recommend most often to patients in clinic. The first big advantage of this shoe is that it has a really broad base of support with relatively firm and balanced cushioning. Now this means that you don't sink into it too much, therefore making the shoe unstable. The wide platform means that you got plenty of space in the shoe throughout the whole length of it, from the heel, midfoot and forefoot, which is relatively rare in modern walking shoes. And it's got a really good rocker design, so it only has a gentle rocker at the forefoot. This is where the shoe tilts upward. That helps with walking and the propulsion phase of the gait cycle, but it's relatively flat otherwise and broad, which keeps you centered and helps with your balance. This is one of the most important factors, as most walking shoes are starting to move like running shoes by having a rocker on the heel and the forefoot. It just tilts you back and forth. It's not good for keeping you stable, especially when you're standing or walking. So it's soft enough to give you comfort, firm enough to keep you stable when you're going for longer walks, and it's one of the most orthotic friendly shoes on the market. So because there's plenty of space in the toe box, you can take out the insert if you have an orthotic and just pop it in inside. You've lots of space. One of the key things with orthotics is that you don't want a shoe that's too soft, because when you apply weight to the orthotic, it will sink into the cushioning. Not the case with the Ghost Max 3, quite firm overall and therefore perfect for orthotics. So this is my all-round recommendation for stability and support. However, if you want a more convenient shoe, then we'd recommend the Skechers Arch Fit 2.0. Now, there's a couple of key reasons I'd recommend this shoe. One is it's got a really high drop, so that's the difference in height from the back to the front, so it's much higher at the back, so it puts you at a slight tilt. The benefit of this is if you have balance issues and you find that you fall backwards, this keeps you slightly tilted forward, which also helps with momentum when you're walking. If you got tired calves or Achilles, a higher drop also helps to offload these, so it's beneficial in numerous ways. It has arch support built in, so those of you with a flatter foot who feel like they need a little bit more support in the midfoot, this does an excellent job. It's podiatry recommended, and it's slip in, so you just set the laces to the tightness that's convenient for you. So if you have any mobility issues, you can just stand up, slip into the shoe, or when you're sitting down you can slip in either. So it's really convenient of a shoe. The cushioning is really firm in the shoe, again helping with your balance so you're not moving too much one way or the other. One caveat to this shoe is because it's got built-in arch support, it's not a shoe that you'd recommend for orthotics, because it would just tilt the orthotic too much towards the outside. So overall, this is my recommendation to help with balance, offload the calf, and for ease of use. Next up is the Brooks Glycerin 23. Now this is a premium walking shoe, and it's a shoe that I'd recommend to more active seniors. It's got an 8mm drop, so not as high as what we see in the Skechers, but still sufficient to tilt you forward. It has a relatively fat base and a nice forefoot rocker, again just to help out when you're walking. It's got a really premium feel to it, so it has a bit of a bounce in the midsole, so in the cushioning, so it's quite balanced overall. So like the other 2 shoes, not as firm as those 2, but as a result of not being as firm, you get a bit more snap to it, so it's a bit more fun to walk in. So if you're someone who's quite active or a quicker walker, I think you'll enjoy the cushioning in this. It still has a broad base of support, has some sidewalls on the outside and inside of the shoe. They basically come up from the midsole, wrap around your foot, along with a really stiff heel counter to keep your foot centered in the shoe. So it helps you if you're someone who struggles with overpronation or pronation control by keeping you centered in the shoe and springing you forward. Has a really premium feel on top of the shoe, true to size and length, and it comes in a wide option as well for those of you with a broader foot. So a bit more premium feel than the other 2 shoes, and comes in a variety of widths as well. Then we have the Hoka Transport, which is one of my favorite shoes that came out in the last year. So first of all, it has a speed lacing system, so you just pull on the strap to tighten it up. So if you've got mobility issues, it's really convenient for use. The cushioning is exceptional in this, so it sits somewhere between the bouncier cushioning of the Glycerin 23 and the firmness of the Skechers. So it's in complete contrast to what you see in most Hoka running shoes, which have massive amount of cushioning underneath your foot, which makes it a little bit unstable. This has a lower amount of cushioning, relatively balanced balance, but really comfortable for longer walks or for standing for long periods of time. And then underneath the shoe, you've got two major things that are important. One is that you've got lugs, which give you grip on uneven terrain, or if you find that you're a little bit more unsteady underfoot, especially in wetter conditions, it's got a Vibram Mega Grip. So that's a slip-resistant outsole, so it gives you terrific grip, whether you're on wet pavements, wet rocks. It's essentially one of the best forms of outsole grips on the market. So that's built into it already. Now, one of the downsides of this shoe is that it's got a slightly narrow toe box. So if you've got a wider foot, they do have a wide option available. So it's something that it's worth considering, and we'll pop a link to it in the description. But otherwise, really convenient, really comfortable, exceptional grip underfoot, and great cushioning. Then when we think about the shoes that we generally avoid, so there's two types. One is if you have a really cushioned shoe. So sometimes you go into a shop, you try on a shoe, it feels really cloud-like, really pillow-like, and the ultimate comfort. Well, the difficulty with that type of shoe is it makes your foot work harder to stabilize within the shoe. Therefore, your foot fatigues, your leg muscle fatigues, and it makes your legs work harder overall. And this can lead to discomfort, or just a feeling that you can't walk as far or be as active because your muscles are working harder to stabilize within the shoe. Now, the other type of shoe that we generally don't recommend to seniors is a really rockered shoe. So something like the Asics Glide Ride Max. A really fun shoe to walk in. However, it's got a really significant tilt on it in the front and the back, and that means it can rock you back. So we know that as we get older, we have some more difficulties maintaining balance, and it's important to practice this. So having a shoe with a rockered heel bevel means that it can tilt you backwards when you're standing still. So yes, it's fun when you're moving because the rocker has propulsed you forward, but ideally you want a flatter bed throughout the heel and the midsole, like we get in the Brooks Ghost Max 3, to really keep you balanced within the shoe, and then it tilts you forward as you go to push off. So avoid a really rockered shoe. But if you have any questions on these types of shoes, you can pop them in the comment section below. All four shoes are excellent shoes for seniors, but the best one really depends on your feet and how you walk. So there's links to all four in the description if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. And if you're interested, we have a free newsletter that we post out monthly so it doesn't spam you, where I share updates on new shoe reviews and the best discounts that I'm seeing at the moment on shoes on sale. There's a link for this in the description if you want to check it out. Otherwise, if you're new to the channel, we've got loads of walking shoe reviews if you'd like to check them out. And thank you very much for watching.